It's time to get your geek on with Dave Gremillion.
All right then, San Antonio. I am Dave Gremillion, and welcome to Get Your Geek On, where we will talk Star Wars, we will talk Star Trek, DC, Marvel, video gaming, really all things geek that have dominated this little world of ours, particularly North Star Mall lately. I'll get into that, I promise. Geek is really not what it was 20 or even 30 years ago. Geek is now in. Geek is very much in. Geek is now mainstream, and we are here to talk the very latest and greatest. That is Geek here on 9:30 a.m. Talk Radio and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com and iHeartRadio and streaming and now Facebook Live. There we go. If you want to, this is actually kind of fun. The Facebook page is facebook.com/GYGO official. And when we record the show now, from now on, at least I'd like from now on, we'll put it up live so that y'all can see it there on the camera. We'll wave and we may dance and Goose will dance. That works. That's okay. So now when we actually say, hey, check this out, look at this, look at that, and people stare at their radios and they're like, what? I don't get it. Well, now you can see what we're talking about. And also you can see us, and we can't see you. But you're there, so that's good.
I'm sorry.
One of these days, maybe. That's okay. All right, so this is episode number 11. And tonight, well, first of all, you're probably wondering who the person is on my left. This is Rene Guzman, the staff writer, geeky staff writer. I'm gonna call him the Watcher for mysa.com, the San Antonio Express News. We'll be talking to him here in a little bit, so you can, I don't know, just hang out, hang your head, just I don't know, sit back, take a nap. Whatever floats your boat. I've got some Marvel news to talk about. Natalie Portman in particular. She came out and told the Wall Street Journal a couple of little juicy tidbits. A few episodes ago, we talked about how Maxim released their top 13 NES games of all time. Well, now Time Magazine has released the top 50 games of all time, regardless of console, dating all the way back Commodore 64 to present. So we'll be talking about that as well. I have some Star Wars news that I want to get into. There is a new documentary that's coming out, a fan documentary called The Prequels Strike Back. That'll be coming out September 14th, so I want to get into that a little bit. And while we're at it, let's just talk prequels. This is it. We've alluded to it before. I've kind of avoided it. I've kind of dodged the subject every now and then, but we're going to talk prequels. And we're going to talk about them in a big way. Of course, and always the Sarlacc Pit too. But before we actually get into the show here, I have to do my checklist. I got to have something to drink. Throat gets a little dry. That works right there. Do I have a back scratcher? I know it seems a little weird, but trust me. This thing comes in handy, every now and then. It really does. And if you are going to do a geeky show, if you are going to have the only AM talk radio show in the United States that speaks geek, you got to have a lightsaber. So here's Old Blue. If the studio were darker, I guess you could actually see it a lot better. It lights up. It's real pretty, though. So that'll take care of that. All right, so the checklist is good. We are good to go. We can now officially have the show. I have a confirmation. For the past couple of weeks, the confirmations have been coming in hot and heavy. And I am proud to announce we've already had Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Power Ranger, saying that she wants to come on the show. We've already had Tim Rose, who is Admiral Akbar in Salacious Crumb. He wants to come on the show. And now I'm proud to announce that we have Jeremy Bulloch. Yes, indeed, Boba Fett himself from the original trilogy will be on the show in October. I'm hammering out the details, so I don't quite have it down when, but sometime before he arrives for the Alamo City Comic-Con at the end of October, we'll have Jeremy Bulloch.
Such a nice guy, too.
He has the best stories.
Oh, he is a nice guy. I got a chance to meet him once, and wow, you wouldn't think that there's such a gentleman beneath that Mandalorian armor, but yeah, sweet guy.
I'm really looking forward to it. Tim Rose, and I need to go have some drinks down at the Riverwalk. Then I can tell the story of Admiral Akbar, Boba Fett, and I walked into a bar. I can start every story with that now.
Nice.
Okay, that's the good news. Now, the bad news is that Kenny Baker, who played R2-D2, passed away recently. And on Thursday, his funeral was held. Ironically enough, is also his 82nd. It would have been his 82nd birthday in Lancashire. Dave Prowse did attend. Another number of other people did attend. Kenny's body arrived in a coffin in a Rolls Royce and was piped into the chapel by the Royal Tank Regiment, playing Scotland the Brave. Obviously, Kenny Baker being the Scotsman that he was. There was no costuming, though. This was actually raised as like, how could you not go to this in costume? How could you not have an R2-D2 there? And at the family's request, there was no costuming, which I applaud. I mean, it's really, because Kenny was known for more than Star Wars. So yes, I mean, R2-D2 is obvious. That's like saying George Lucas is known for more than Star Wars. Yeah. We know that, but...
Time Bandits, got to give that shout out.
Oh, God, I love Time Bandits.
Yeah.
That's such a good movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Time Bandits... Go see Time Bandits. I mean, that's the greatest endorsement I can come up with is go see Time Bandits. Okay, all right. So I also want to give a big shout out to Think Geek. They opened up a store here in San Antonio at North Star Mall, right across from the food court on the second level. That store is incredible. I was there today. Facebook.com/GYGO official, our Facebook page, has an exclusive video. Nobody else has it. Rene doesn't have it.
I don't.
He tried. The bouncer wouldn't let him in.
True.
Until he found out the bouncer was the Thor statue he was talking to the whole time.
Life size, too.
Oh, yeah, it's huge. It's like 8 feet tall. It's enormous. So I got in there, and I met with the managers, district managers, regional managers, everybody that was there. Great people, great store, fantastic store. Got myself a new hat.
Nice.
Which people on Facebook Live can see now. Those that... you're not on Facebook Live, you're just listening on the podcast, which we appreciate, or on radio, which we also appreciate. I'll put a picture up later, but it's a sweet hat.
It is.
Right, Goose? It's a sweet hat.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Pregnant pause for dramatic effect. That was it. Yeah.
Okay. They were, let's see, the grand opening was actually yesterday. It was Friday. So I was going to tell you all about the exclusives that they had, but it's probably already gone by now. But still, it's a great store. Y'all should check that out. And I stole this. I do want to give credit, but I totally stole this. It is Geek Ground Zero is the area of the store because Hot Topic is there. Spencer's is like just a few stores down. And then when you come down off the escalator, off the food court, you walk like almost right into the Disney store. So all right there, that is Geek Ground Zero. Mm-hmm. I love that. I'm totally hashtagging that. That's going to be awesome.
All yours.
All right. So with that being said, with no further ado and no further gilding the lily, let's go ahead and bring on Rene Guzman. I thought inappropriate music.
Nice, yeah. Do I get the medal?
No, shooting in a medal. I don't think,
Wookiees and reporters.
Maybe Think Geek has medals. They have extra medals. You can buy one. Maybe that'll work. Okay, so Rene Guzman is, I have dubbed him the Watcher of the San Antonio Express News. He is their geeky staff writer covering San Japan, the Alamo City Comic-Con, PAX, really anything geeky that it belongs to the Express News. It's you, right? There's nobody else. That's it?
I do my best to make sure it's me.
It eliminates
pretty
the
much,
competition there.
I pretty much do that. They haven't.
Nobody look in the river. That's what I'm saying.
No, they haven't caught on yet, and that's my plan.
So the next time they dredge up the San Antonio River, when they drain it, you go in like the night before and move the bodies.
I can say no more.
Oh, okay, all right. He can say more, but then we'd have to look for a new.
Dave,
host.
It's called plausible deniability.
Okay,
yes,
right. Fair enough. Okay, so we have that in common because we're the only radio show that talks geek. He's the only staff writer. We're the Express News that talks
and
geek,
we do all we can to keep it that way.
Absolutely. So all you competitors, just go away. Shoo. Okay. All right. So how did you get into the geeky journalism?
I basically, you hear that writing 101 tip, write what you know. And I'm a San Antonio native. Pretty much been reading comics since I could read. I just have always loved this stuff. I've always loved sci-fi. Very blessed to have grown up during the original trilogy in theaters. Yeah. Yes. So now you know how old I am, and more or less. And when it came time after college, I wanted so much to be able to just share those stories here in, for my hometown, because I knew I'm not the only one here in town who loves this stuff. And as you said, various types of, speculative fiction genre has become much more mainstream. And, you can certainly argue that Hollywood has figured out a way to cash in on that, which, kind of makes sense. Yeah. But I think it just shows there's an audience for this, and I'm just really happy to be able to reach out to that audience here in town, and I guess beyond, if you get into online and fun stuff like that.
See, I mean, it goes along with our intro saying that back in the day, in the 80s, geek was a derogatory term. It's certainly not what it is today. Yeah. When you see Wall Street investment bankers wearing Avengers ties to the office, and you see it all over the Riverwalk, and Think Geek is now a $1 billion company. Well, bought out by GameStop, who is also a $1 billion company. This is, geek is the in thing now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one thing when I started at the newspaper, which was, oh my gosh, late 98, which I think precedes the internet. I think
just barely.
Just barely. Yeah, sure feels that way. That was one thing I really wanted to get across to my editors, was just that, yes, I love this stuff, but most importantly, there's an audience for it. And I really wanted to stress that it's a growing audience. And certainly we've seen that over the years, that it has grown. It continues to grow. So many people in so many facets of entertainment grew up with this stuff and are now calling the shots on this stuff. And I think it just adds all the more to just how wonderful sci-fi, fantasy, can be for everyone out there.
Now, speaking of that growth, since, like you said, you've been doing this since '98 for the Express News. What kind of changes have you seen in the past, I hate to say it, but almost 20 years in the San Antonio geek scene?
It's grown, for one thing, that pretty obviously. But I think most importantly is that San Antonio is becoming more of a hub for it. You look at the AnimeCon San Japan. You certainly look at a convention like Alamo City Comic Con, and these just get bigger and better each year. And I think you see so many people here in San Antonio who are just, their faces must hurt from smiling so much, that here is this mecca we can go to and just wave those freak flags as high as we want, and cosplay and just celebrate all these wonderful genres. But I think you're seeing it where it's drawing people from outside San Antonio. I covering these events, I talk to people from outside of the state. In San Japan's case, a lot of times, you'll meet people, who do, travel abroad. And it's such a great feeling, and again, I guess as a San Antonio native, I love seeing that in my hometown.
It's kind of funny because 5 years ago, we're not even talking 20 years ago, just 5 years ago, I don't know that we ever would have dreamed that we would have the British invasion that's coming this fall to the Alamo City Comic Con.
Oh my gosh,
Dave Tennant, Karen Gillan, Billy Piper, Tim Rose, Jeremy Bullock, Dave Prowse. That's 6 just off the top of my head that I can think of.
Got to give the shout out to Barrowman there.
Barrowman, thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're all coming to San Antonio. I know it's a big city with a small town feel. Yeah. But I'm honored that we are on the geek map in such a huge way.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because you mentioned that big city, small town feel. That's San Antonio. That is the heart of the city. And I think that charming dichotomy draws so many people to San Antonio, beyond the geek community, but certainly within the geek community, again, entertainers, artists, animators, that love what they see here, but I think most importantly just love that their work is celebrated at such a high level. And it's drawing people, again, like I said, beyond, certainly beyond 410 and 1604, that's for sure.
So with you reading comic books since you were a kid, how excited were you when Marv Wolfman was announced?
Quite very, actually. Yeah, it's funny because growing up, a good buddy of mine was big into DC, and I was pretty much always been the Marvel guy. And seeing, like Teen Titans, I'm gonna have a senior Crisis. Yeah. Watching, seeing Crisis, and I got a chance to meet George Perez when he was here in San Antonio not too long ago, and my God, I mean, there's a guy who's still doing it, and just seeing these greats here in San Antonio. I mean, yeah, but Wolfman. I mean, wow, that's
so. My Crisis is: do I bring my paperback, my Absolute Edition, or my novel of Crisis?
Yes. I think if you brought them all, I wouldn't be surprised if Marv says, yeah, I'll sign them all, and that's how he'd sound too. That's my Marv Wolfman impersonation there. But yeah, I'm so tremendously excited. When Stan Lee was here a few years ago, that was it was
special.
It was epic because I did a story on him for my college paper when he was here in San Antonio back in the early 90s, and I wrote this article. And of course, back in the days of snail mail, I had contacted Marvel Entertainment. Can you send me a press kit? Mr. Lee, he was here. I'm doing the story for our student newspaper, and they were so tremendously helpful. Sent me photos, sent me bio. I write this story. I mail him a tear sheet. And I'm thinking, okay, moving on to the next story. And then about a week later, I get a postcard from him saying, thanks so much for the article. Rene really enjoyed it, Excelsior. And I thought, okay, well, cool, I can die now. It's like everything else is downhill from here, But again, you fast forward to just a few years ago. I mean, he's been here twice in more recent years. And I'm just, he is a superhero. To do what he does, to have that kind of enthusiasm, and he's always on. I mean, that's him. It is him. I think he sleeps with exclamation marks. I mean, he is just he is. But it's amazing that again, San Antonio gets to see that up close. Because instead of like, oh gosh, I just didn't get a chance to get those tickets for San Diego because they sold out while I blinked. Okay, that's a drag, but you're getting these opportunities here in your backyard, and I think that's a wonderful thing. All
right, so you've been approached, hypothetical situation here, pulling this out of the blue. You've been approached to write a geeky movie.
Right.
Here's the catch, though. It's your story. You can write the Black Widow solo movie. You can write about whatever your geeky heart desires, and you will get full funding. You'll get the best director, best producer, blah 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 blah. But you get to pick the story that is seen. What's your geeky story?
Okay.
No, you can't use me. You can't use Goose. You can't use yourself.
Well, fine. All right.
You can use me. I'm my own.
I could. Yeah. You speak.
At least that's
yourself.
what my wife. That's what I get to tell my wife from time to time.
This is true. This is true.
When she lets you tell her that.
I know wherever you speak. Regarding my wife, I mean. Let me be clear there.
Okay.
So movie, yes. I'm torn between ROM Space Knight. Ooh. Because, yes, so many Marvel characters have been done, and so many DC characters have probably been thought about, but haven't been done right so far. Sorry.
Yeah, that was last week's show. Well,
yeah, I know. I did hear. Yeah, but I would go with ROM Space Knight because I just love that character. The whole idea of this Space Knight. There was a segue. Yeah, who just comes to Earth, and he is going to defend the planet from the dire wraiths. And oh, by the way, he's a toy. It was nice merchandising crossover before what you see now, which is just incredibly, to the nth degree. So it would probably be ROM Space Knight.
Outstanding, and that's. I love how you didn't go with the popular answer. Oh, man, I'd love to write a Harley Quinn movie or a Killer Croc or the next Batman movie. No, man, you went old school with that. You went, whoa.
And also because the other one sounds so hard.
Talk about expectations.
Yeah, it's this way. It's like, ROM what?
It'd be like what? The expectations of the Suicide Squad movie versus Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Ant-Man's like, really? You're going to do that movie? And then it was a huge hit.
Yeah. It was fun.
As opposed to Suicide Squad, which was...
They'll always have that one trailer.
That's true.
I try to look at the glass half full
for them. They did make a good trailer, by golly. They made a solid trailer. You can say that about them.
Oh, man.
Okay, so where can people see your particular writings?
Well, in Ye Olden printed newspaper, I still, we have that certainly for the Express News. I also have my stories online at mysa.com and expressnews.com. I do the Twitter.
Ooh,
like those kids do these days,
the crazy kids that won't stay off my lawn.
Yes, exactly. But you can tweet from my lawn, and if you can, tweet to me, it's at Rene Guz, RENEGUZ. But basically print and online.
Okay, and you told me that there was something special you were working on that you want to talk about.
Yeah, so there's a little science fiction franchise celebrating 50 years. Of
just a little one.
Yeah. A cottage industry involving Federation something or other. But 50 years of Star Trek, which it's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely, it is.
Much of a Star Wars fan as I am, Trek was my gateway to science fiction, and there's a big reasons why it has lived long and prospered for 5 decades, and my mission is to give 50 reasons why.
Ooh.
50 fun facts, stuff like that.
Wow,
that would be a continuing mission.
Yeah, it is an ongoing. It could very well be a 5-year.
Mission.
It could very well be a 5-year mission.
We could come up with 50 reasons right here. I mean, we could do that.
It might take my editor 5 years to edit it. But,
okay. All right, so Rene Guzman there, the Watcher. I've officially dubbed the Watcher from mysa.com.
I got my Watcher going there.
By the way, that means you have to move to the moon.
I know the robes. I don't know if I could.
And shave your head.
If I could pull the robe off.
Gotta shave your head.
That sounded bad.
What's a worse commute? From the moon to here, or from 1604 to here? 1604 281 to here.
The moon would be quicker.
I would say that, yeah. The dark side of the moon would be faster.
The dark side, yeah. That's true. Okay. So mysa.com, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a lot of fun here. Let's see, what time do we have here? I've got about 3 minutes. Okay, so real quick, let's talk some Marvel news.
This is that sequel to the smash hit with no equal. This one's for the true fans with Hulk hands and action figures flying.
Alrighty, so briefly now, in the time that we have here, after the break, don't forget we're doing. I'm going to talk about Time Magazine's top 50 video games of all time, and then I want to get into Star Wars and the Star Wars prequels. All right, so Natalie Portman says she's done, not just with Thor, but with Marvel movies. She told the Wall Street Journal that she wants to focus on other projects. Okay, I don't think she was all that focused on Thor 2, The Dark World. As far as Marvel movies go, that was not good. No bueno on that one. Yeah. But she wants to focus more on other projects and directing. She is now directing her first picture, which is A Tale of Love and Darkness, which doesn't that sound like something Natalie Portman would get into?
She already acted in that movie. It's called The Phantom Menace.
Hi-yo.
Boom.
You get an Oscar and
Tale of Love and Darkness. Wait, wasn't that Black Swan? Love and Darkness? All right.
Something like that.
So she wants to do that. Her actual quote from the Wall Street Journal is, quote, "As far as I know, I'm done. I mean, I don't know if maybe they'll, one day they'll ask for an Avengers 7 or whatever. I have no idea." Could she sound a little more condescending?
Yeah.
Could she really try to come down on Marvel a little more than that? I mean, it's... Wow.
And if she read Jason Aaron's Thor run right now, Jane Foster.
Jane Foster's looking pretty good right about now. But
just saying. But
instead, she's done. She wants to get behind the camera. And, I mean, I don't know if maybe they'll one day ask for an Avengers 7 or whatever. Is she trying to sound like a hipster?
Spot on.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. That's an epic Natalie Portman right there.
It's like Possession.
Oh my God, it's like right out of Thor right there. I'm just surprised at how condescending she sounds.
Yeah.
That tone, that attitude. tone. That was me, not really her, but her words. I mean, there's a tone, definite tone there. So, all right. So we have a break coming up here, and after the break, see, there's the break music. So after the break, we've got a lot more that we're going to be talking about here, and Facebook Live is still going on. I feel like I want to do another giveaway. I haven't done a giveaway in a while, and I feel like I want to do one before Alamo City Comic Con rolls around. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I want to do one. I really do. So, big thanks to Rene Guzman for coming on, and we will catch y'all right after the break. All right, we are back from the break. Back from the break here, 9:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. Rene Guzman is. We tried really hard to kick him out. Apparently, he beat away the bouncer, and he dodged the rancor, so he's going to stick with us here
with these hands.
If you're thumb.
Exactly.
So if you're watching us on Facebook Live, we're still here.
Hi.
We're waving
You may
at
have dodged the Rancor, but there's still the Sarlacc.
Oh, there's the segue.
There's the Sarlacc, but yay. Yeah. Alrighty, so I want to go ahead and we're going to go right to the next little bit of news here, which is Time Magazine released the top 50 greatest games of all time on any console, and we're going to break this down because their list kind of sucks. All right, let's do it. Okay. All right. So Maxim Magazine, if you go to listen to our podcast, which you find at 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com, you can also get it on the SoundCloud app. That's hard to say 5 times fast. SoundCloud.
I only say it once.
Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, once is enough. You can find us there as well. We talked about how Maxim Magazine did their top 13 NES games of all time, but now Time Magazine did their top 50, regardless of console. Now, I'm only going to go through the top 10 here for the sake of time. But I do want to give out some honorable mentions. Final Fantasy III on the Super Nintendo was the 12th greatest game of all time. Okay, all right, a little low for me, but yeah, honorable mention. Space Invaders was 19, the original Space Invaders. So a nice nod to the classics there. GoldenEye was 22.
Nice.
Super Mario Kart was 33.
GoldenEye, no matter what, should always be number 7.
Oh. I get that.
Oh, it's number 7 with a bullet.
I get that.
Okay. So that's Super Mario Kart was 33. Pong was 40. Now, look, this is supposed to be a list of the greatest games of all time. And while I do not deny that Pong was the game that made gaming what it is, really?
Well, it goes back and forth.
And that's the last we'll hear from Goose. Thank you, sir.
Mic drop.
Man, how long were you waiting? You were holding on to that one for a while, weren't you?
Look, I'm not saying that I don't think of these things on the fly, but...
Okay. Pong was 40. Back and forth. I Cry Foul. Guitar Hero was 47th, and King's Quest 3 was number 50. Kind of an interesting one to go with. They made like 10 King's Quest games. They went with 3 for some reason. I'm going to guess a little editorial bias there. All right, so number 10. Number 10 greatest game of all time, according to Time Magazine, is World of Warcraft. Oh, we didn't have a sound. Oh, yeah, I didn't get the sound one for that one. Okay, all right, so that's World of Warcraft cracked the top 10, the most popular MMORPG ever. Number 9, this one is kind of a surprise and yet not a surprise. We all played it at some point in elementary school. Oregon Trail.
Yes.
Oregon Trail makes number 9. You know, the one where you always die of dysentery?
Oh.
No matter what? You know, you got to figure
days,
out.
are you
going to cross the ford here? Are you going to wait for the river to go down?
And the bison or the buffalo?
So hard to shoot the buffalo.
Yeah, so hard.
That was great. And of course,
Space bar.
You only need like 3 buffalo, but you kill them all anyway because that's what you do. Number 8 is the original Super Mario Brothers. I think that goes without saying. That should definitely be in the top 10.
Absolutely.
Number 7 is the original Legend of Zelda. I always love this one. This is by Lindsey Sterling. You keep it going. such a fan of hers. Have you heard her music before?
Up until now, no.
You need to look up Lindsay Sterling. The Phantom of the Opera video will blow you away.
Nice.
She's really cute. She was a ballet dancer, and now she's a violin prodigy.
Wow.
And she incorporates all those together. The
threat.
cuteness she doesn't really have to incorporate. It just kind of comes out naturally. Number 6. The number 6 game, and this one, please note, this one was, according to Time Magazine, greater than World of Warcraft, Minecraft. Minecraft. I guess with, the youths of today,
it's all about the blocks.
The kids, I guess.
Yeah.
Number 5, and this one, we'll play the sound first, but this one was kind of surprising me for this reason alone. It's Ms. Pac-Man. Not the original Pac-Man. Ms. Pac-Man. I don't know if it's a feminist thing or.
I think I know why. It may have been the first game to have a female as a leading character.
That yeah.
I can think of all the quarters I.
Well, at least the one that's playable, because Mario, you have Princess Peach and Zelda, obviously.
Yeah,
but they're not playable.
Right.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that one. That's
could very well
right
be.
Here, off the top of my head, just now.
He's on a roll, man. This is great.
Boom.
Number 4. I agree. This is a top 10 game. Doom. This one, like Wolfenstein 3D. There was another in the same style, like Marathon. All good games, but yeah, Doom is definitely there. Yep. Number 3, the number 3 greatest game of all time, according to Time Magazine, is another Zelda game, Ocarina of Time. Yeah, okay.
Hey, any excuse to play that, that's fine for me.
That works.
Yeah. I dig that.
All right, so that's Ocarina of Time was number 3. Number 2, this one surprises me a little bit. The second greatest game of all time is Super Mario 64. Not Super Mario 3. Not a Mega Man game. Not a Castlevania.
Oh.
Not any Metroid game, and there have been some good Metroid games.
Oh, see, but the Castlevania especially, wow.
The second greatest game is Super Mario 64. And the number 1 greatest game of all time, I'm waiting. There's going to be so much backlash for this. The number 1 greatest game of all time is Tetris. It does get stuck in your head. The theme song is catchy.
Yes.
But
does anybody else want some stroganoff now?
I do.
I do want to go home and organize things into nice, neat piles. Tetris, the greatest game of all time, is Tetris.
I'll allow it. I kind of think so. I am actually okay with that.
At number 1, though, I mean, putting it in the top 10, I can make an argument for it. But the greatest game, according to Time Magazine,
well, it's.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you can make. I'll put it this way. I think you can make the argument for it because it is such an addictive game. It is very easy to pick up. It doesn't. You mentioned earlier about Miss Pac-Man being, female protagonist. This way, anyone can get into this game. It's so tremendously accessible, addictive, colorful, and
unless you're playing on a Game Boy.
Well, there's it's still colorful. There's black and green. I
remember
San Antonio River green.
I remember just whiling away hours on an NES with Tetris, and
I remember whiling away hours on Ninja Gaiden. I whiled away hours on Wizards and Warriors and Metroid.
Tetris plays the game the same on any console, regardless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you just need a D-pad. That's it. You don't need buttons. You just need a D-pad.
You notice also what's not on here is Sonic the Hedgehog. There was no Sonic game that made the list, at least the top 10.
Tomb Raider,
No Tomb Raider. Myst, I remember, was somewhere in the 30s. You know, the game where you just kind of start the game and you're like, what do I do?
Wow.
I don't get it.
Metal Gear? Any love for?
I don't remember any Metal Gear being on there at all. Although the one for the NES was pretty stupid, but
Well, yeah.
I don't. Tetris. Okay.
I could see it.
I can see it top 10. I
mean,
and no Castlevania's in there. I'm sorry. I love the Castlevania series.
Castlevania is awesome.
It was
Castlevania is tremendously awesome.
really good.
I mean, I wouldn't say time is the burning bush here, but you know, Tetris. I could see it.
So what they left out. So let's play this little game. Let's take out if you were to bump Tetris. And keep it in the top 10. Final Fantasy III did not make the top 10. Space Invaders, GoldenEye, Super Mario Kart, Guitar Hero, King's Quest III, and Pong. Which one would you put in the top 10?
See,
we got the list right here, so we can cheat. That's okay.
Oh.
Final Fantasy III.
I would say GoldenEye just because of what it did for the N64 back then. It was one of the first really good first-person shooters for a console.
Oh, yeah. And the multiplayer?
Oh, the multiplayer was awesome.
Yeah.
People are going to think I'm crazy, but I actually would put Guitar Hero in the top 10, and I'll tell you why. Because it was so insanely, wildly popular, and it brought in a lot of music that people hadn't heard of before. I mean, there were millennials playing the game who hadn't heard Dust in the Wind. Or who hadn't heard the other one by Kansas, Carry On My Wayward Son. Or, to be honest, I'm going to be honest, I hadn't heard a lot of Linkin Park until Guitar Hero. And because of its interactive nature that you could play with someone, you could play against someone, and of course it spawned Rock Band.
Yeah.
I would, and of course the song at the end. The song at the end of the game, the end credits was the Devil's, I forget the name of it, but it was insanely hard to do. I just think that because of what it did, I think Guitar Hero has a case to make for top 10.
You're right. I think you're crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I've done 11 shows with him. I know he's crazy.
I guess because I have a good friend who's in a band, and he tried to show me just simple Ramones power chords, and I experienced levels of arthritis I never knew existed. Playing guitar is hard. I play video games to escape what's hard, and bashing buttons is easy.
For video games, you only need your thumbs.
Yeah.
Now here's one. People in the chat,
Good point.
People in the Facebook Live chat,
Good point.
They're saying, "What about GTA, Grand Theft Auto?"
It's not all ages accessible.
Yeah, the sandbox
Yeah.
is exceptional, but it kind of has the naughty bits that limit. Yeah.
Okay.
Injustice Gods Among Us that should be somewhere in there.
Mortal Kombat with
Mortal
capes.
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
is-
Yeah.
I mean, Injustice is basically Mortal Kombat with capes, but I mean that. Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, so we'll move on from that one here, and we've got a little bit of Star Wars news that we want to talk about, and then I want to hit up, we're going to talk about the prequels a little bit, so Star Wars it up.
I'm looking forward to completing your training. In time, you will call me Master.
Okay, so there's going to be a documentary that's going to come out. I'm looking for the quote here. I had it here somewhere. I know, because I was just talking to the guy. Oh, here it is. All right, good. The prequels Strike Back will be coming out September 14th digitally, and I find this interesting. They'll be on Amazon and on YouTube as well. I assume it'll be like one of those $2.99 YouTube things, not for free or anything. But you can pre-order digital and disc editions now at prequelsstrikeback.com/film. And it's going to be in theaters in Austin, Texas on the 6th of October. So you can see it. And this is kind of a reverse because usually you see it in the theater and then you get the digital release.
Right.
Well, now you can see the digital release and then go see it in theaters. They're going to have interviews with Bob Clark, who's a movie critic, Matt Singer, who's the editor of ScreenCrush.com, and Kevin Smith. I think that goes without saying. If you need to know who Kevin Smith is, you go find another show.
I'm sorry, I already don't like this movie because they did not interview Rene Guzman for the San Antonio Express News.
I'm appalled. I'm absolutely appalled.
It was me or Silent Bob. Great.
Well, they did get Silent Bob, but the interview didn't last very long.
And that's all for Dave today.
See, I can do that too. I can bring the funny.
Another mic drop. Boom.
Okay. So I asked what the inspiration was for coming up with this, and the quote directly from the director Bradley Weatherholt was, "The inspiration came from stumbling onto the work of Mike Kilmo and his essay on ring composition, where he argues that Lucas used an ancient literary technique to link the prequel trilogy with the original." Okay, yeah, I've heard this ring theory. He goes on to say that I then reached out to Mike, and he opened my eyes to other ideas about the prequels, which I hadn't considered. You know, Plinkett did the same thing for me. I'm sorry, but he did. I didn't mean to go there, but yeah, Red Letter Media opened my eyes to a few things I hadn't considered. I mean, everybody had, the whole, oh God, Jar Jar. Oh God, Jake Lloyd, the kid, his little yippee and all that.
Trade talks
and politicians, but but Plinkett did open my eyes to a few things as well. And I've noticed this is a growing trend on Facebook. This is a growing trend on all social media. Is the prequel fans, the prequel, I call them defenders, striking back at those that have criticized them? And I've noticed this is the trend. This is the trend. Let's say you're a person who grew up in the 80s who wasn't too fond of the prequels.
Okay.
It's a stretch. Okay, just go with it.
I will. I'm going.
Okay. I am going to be a prequel defender. Please say something about the prequels. Anything, good, bad, whatever.
Unnecessary.
You are a hater. You should be shunned, ashamed. You should publicly apologize in front of City Hall with cameras on you.
Hayden Christensen can't act.
You are a hater. Your soul is dark as night. You have no heart whatsoever, and you kick puppies before drowning them.
That's harsh.
James Earl Jones had no business giving that last line in episode 3.
No. Where is Padme?
Yeah.
Is she all right? I'm Shatnering this line.
And I will tell you this. You like the prequels, you're entitled to your opinion, even if you're wrong. But I would say, that said, I still think Attack of the Clones is the worst.
Well, we're going to get into that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll get
Take
into
the
that
love
here.
story out of it, and it's pretty dang good.
But here's the thing I want to get into about this is that if you
30 other minutes. Yeah.
What they don't understand is that criticism does not equal hate.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I will watch the prequels. Not often, but I will. Will I sit down and watch The Phantom Menace before Empire Strikes Back? No, I will not. But that doesn't mean that I hate the movies. It doesn't mean that you hate the movies. It doesn't mean that anybody hates the movies. Now, I'm sure there is a small minority of fans, very, very, very small, who actually do hate the movies and hate the fact that they were ever made. But the overwhelming majority of the prequel haters, with my air quotes, they're not. They just have criticisms like everybody does of every movie. There is no movie. I will never give a movie 10 out of 10. I don't give The Godfather 10 out of 10. I don't give Casablanca or Citizen Kane 10 out of 10. I will never also give anything 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
There's no perfect movie, and there's no movie. Even The Room with Tommy Wiseau had some redeeming qualities. I'm still looking for them, but I'm sure they're so. They did play football, so okay, I'll give them a little bit for that.
Oh, hi. I mean, you gotta love that.
You're tearing me apart, Rene.
Oh, hi. You gotta love that.
So anyway, how's your sex life?
Yeah. Oh, hi. I just say that. I will say this. As far as the prequel apologists go, I actually went to a screening of Phantom Menace, and I'll never forget this. It was a week before the film premiered. We had been doing all this coverage, like so many other news organizations, and I go to this screening, and with this screening there was a big group of Star Wars fans, one of those like radio station type things. You guys may know a thing or two about that, radio. And my point is, I'll never forget this. Toward the front of the row, lights are dimming, and this guy stands up, turns around, and just shouts to everyone, "Even if it sucks, it's gonna be great." I will never forget those words, because it just goes to show how much passion fans can have for a franchise. And it did suck. I mean, Phantom Menace, it's a turd. But the beauty of that just love of the franchise, I thought was so awesome. And so for that reason, I would never tell someone, how can you like the prequels? ugh, I like them okay.
I think
Not
we
a
might,
lot.
I think we might have lost our Facebook Live feed.
We're no longer live,
I'm not sure if we are or not.
but I feel live.
It's kind of well, I feel, therefore no.
Live-ish,
But that's kind of what I want to get to is that, look, I understand the prequels take a lot of criticism. They really do, and for pretty good reason. And I understand why millennials, in particular, are tired of hearing the criticism because they've been hearing it since the millennium.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just saying, okay, fine, I'll never ever say that Jar Jar was a bad character ever again, is not going to make him a good character.
No,
it's
it won't.
just, it's not. So,
It won't.
In general, when it comes to the prequels, here's my theory on it. The first one, yeah, it stunk. It was complicated. It was drawn out. It was heartless. It just, I just didn't care. By the time that we get to the lightsaber duel that everyone just loves, by the time we get to that, I'm sitting there going, I don't know anything about these people. Obi-Wan stayed on the ship most of the time. Darth Maul has no lines, has no presence.
None.
And Qui-Gon is the only one I have any kind of attachment to, and it ain't that deep.
Yeah, and such fine actors. You think about all the
Yes.
actors that are in this movie. Ian McGregor, Natalie Portman, Liam Neeson. These are good actors, and they are given such poor material and green screen tennis balls to act against.
Now, I will say this. Ewan McGregor was the best part of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
He was the best part of it by far. There's no question.
Well, you see heart.
Yes, you see emotion. That scene at the end. I like to say that the best writing in the prequels was at the end of the duel, quickly preceded by the worst writing in the prequels. Because that part where Obi-Wan is pouring his heart out, you were my brother, I loved you. How could you do this? Oh my God. I feel for him. That's the first moment in the prequels I felt something. But then right before that was, it's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
Oh my God.
And I'm sitting there like, really, George?
Yeah.
That basically, I can translate that actually. It's not really English. It's Lucasese, and I'm going to translate it. What it is, he says, it's over, Anakin, I have the high ground. What it translates to is, God, I don't know how to end this duel.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to end this duel, but I need it to end somehow. And something that people, especially on the Facebook chat, will know about is that I actually rewrote the prequels. I wrote 3 full-length novels and self-published them. So it's not, like 5,000-word fan fiction about how Natalie Portman falls in love with Liam Neeson or whatever. No, it's full-length novels.
Read that.
And
Just saying.
yeah, or
he's half the man he used to be.
Height disparity and all. I'd
Oh,
ow.
wow.
Ouch.
Okay, so, but Attack of the Clones then, if you move on to that one, and that one was a mess from start to finish.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, there was so much about that movie that either made little sense, no sense, or made you raise more questions than it answered. And what really drives me crazy, what really grinds my gears, what really sets me on a rant with you prequel defenders is how people will say, oh, yeah, but so-and-so episode that came out 87 years after the movie explains all that, or it was explained in a comic or a novel. Look, I don't want to sit and watch episode 8 or Rogue One and say, wow, a lot of questions about that scene there. I can't wait until 6 years later when John Jackson Miller writes a book to explain that.
Yeah.
It drives me up the wall, and there was so much about that. Yeah. All right, we got to move quickly here because we have time for the Sarlacc pit.
What's going on?
We just got to the Sarlacc pit.
What's that?
It's this disgusting, horrible creature that's worse than anything you could ever imagine.
Alrighty, Mr. Guzman, sir, would you like to throw somebody in the Sarlacc pit?
Ooh.
No politicians, no celebrities, so something personal.
Oh, who wrote Attack of the Clones?
Put them in. Goose.
Well, the people who, let's see.
That works. Put them in. No, I'm kidding.
The people who think Attack of the Clones was good.
Wilhelm. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. I want to throw in the idiot in front of me on I-10 who got off of the access road, was in the middle lane.
I'm glad you had a finish to that.
Okay, then. Got in the middle lane, saw the light turn yellow, moved to the right lane, and stopped while the light was yellow. Thanks, dude, because I was trying to turn right there, and I'm so glad that you blocked that lane for me. Put him in. on the Facebook page, facebook.com/GYGOofficial. Billy Ross says, all the parents that don't drive during the summer but suddenly have to drive their kids to school. Yeah, put those people in. Roberto Cardoso says, people who drive at night without their headlights on, especially on the freeways.
That's just creepy.
Put them in. Drivers seem to be a theme going on here. Gary Carr says, the guy who decided to cut me off this morning on my way to work and then slowed down 25 miles an hour below the speed limit. That happens on 1604 like every day. Put him in. Let's see. I got time for like one more. Alex Green. This guy listens to us in Australia.
Nice.
On the streaming at 930amtheanswer.com. We're on our podcast page there. And he says, my neighbor that stole my pizza.
The worst.
I'm kind of curious about how they do that, because then the delivery guy come up right up to your door. I mean, maybe he intercepted him and said, hey, I don't know, but man.
Tangled web, man. Tangled web.
Pizza. All right. Oh, well, special thanks go out to Grawlix CMS for helping to sponsor the show here. Grawlix CMS. If you're a web artist, web comic designer, you want to check out getgrawlix.com to help get your art up there to the web, to the world in a user-friendly, not user-frustrating manner. All right, so that'll wrap it up here on another lovely Saturday evening edition of Get Your Geek On. Don't forget to stay geeky, check out the Facebook page, and get your geek on every single day.